Okay, I finally would like to shoot this video, Achara.
What?
She has no idea what we're doing.
I thought we were doing a reaction video.
No, we're not doing a reaction video.
Oh, good lord.
This is the definitive video of how we met.
How I Met Your Mother.
The definitive story. So people can stop asking in the live chats and the comments and all that stuff, because people keep asking and then we have to keep retelling the story. Anytime anyone in real life or on the internet asks us how we met, they'll be referred to this video.
Oh God, and I know what's gonna happen. You are going to tell the embellished version of it. And let me tell you guys, okay?
Okay, no, stop. I'm not gonna tell an embellished version. I'm gonna try to be as accurate as possible.
How are you supposed to be accurate when you don't even remember the first 3 times we met?
So, okay, let me start off with this. The story starts way before I even met Achara. Years ago, back in the late 2000s, I was with my ex-girlfriend at a mall in Torrance, California, okay?
You met me there?
And there was this girl I met who was behind a sushi counter working at this sushi takeout place. Her name is Akane, and if you wanna look her up, her Instagram handle is OMG, that's my sushi. So, Akane, okay?
Oh, anyway. I've never heard this one.
And so, yes you have just in different forms. And so anyway, I met this girl and she was a cute broad, and I like asked for her information so that we could like maybe work together or something like that. That was my way of saying, I'm into you, but I can't be into you because I got a girlfriend, so I'm just gonna keep in touch for just in caseies or something, right? But I mean, but also like on a professional level, like maybe there's something there, because I was working with people, was shooting videos all the time with that same ex-girlfriend. She was an actress, or yeah, she was, she's not anymore. Anyway, years go by, and I'm running auditions for commercial casting. I was already doing it back then, and I'm continuing to do this line of work.
Because in another lifetime, that's what Jaby used to do.
Right, I used to run auditions. So for those of you that don't know, a session runner is someone who basically is the camera dude and the director in the audition room telling the actor, actress what to do, how to do it, and then like, that's it. That's the job all day long.
Press record.
You are the in-between of the actor and the casting director, right? So what happened was I was running this this non-union job in Hollywood for Orangina, I believe was the name. It was
Orangina, yes.
It was for Hightower Casting. And so Jeff Hightower, I think is his name.
I don't remember.
Anyway, what happened was it was one of those days, it always starts out the same, and Jeff Hightower would do this to me a lot, where he'd go, don't worry, it's gonna be easy, dude. It's gonna be easy. Super easy.
Famous last words.
And it was one of the hardest days, but Jeff Hightower is such a cool guy. One of the nicest guys that I would always put up with it, because he was so nice. And so what happened was, it was like a cattle call. There was so many people coming in. And the thing with non-union jobs in Los Angeles versus union is non-union equates to less experienced. Less experienced means I'm having a harder day because I'm having a harder time getting you to do the audition the way I want you to do it.
In my defense, just because I was non-union does not mean that I was inexperienced, okay? It was just a thing. I didn't join the union yet. I still haven't joined the union.
All right, so in any case, the job goes like this. The first thing is that you're sitting on a bench and you're just chilling as this cute broad on the bench, and a gigantic pigeon in the sky dumps poop, like just shits. And it's not just like a small shit, which is what happens to most of us in real life. It's a copious amount, a gargantuan amount of shit falls all over you, like it just rained shit on top of you. And you as the girl are supposed to go, like something small like that. That's the joke, right? As opposed to like freaking out.
I think I half remember that I did like a
Right, exactly. Okay, so then after that, cut to something else where you're strutting your stuff.
Yeah, you're just walking down, like you're walking down the street as if you're walking down a runway.
You know what? This wasn't Jeff Hightower. It was for an Irish lady. I can't remember her name for the life of me right now. I had a small crush on her, but she was married. So anyway, she was
random side note.
Beautiful casting director, Irish casting director, but I can't remember her name for the life of me. It was one of them two, because they both worked at that casting studio.
Yeah.
Anyway, what happens is she's strutting her stuff, and that's it. Super easy, like super easy audition. I just basically did half of it for you, right? And these girls would come in and they'd somehow do it wrong. I don't actually remember what they did. I just remember losing my mind because I'm like, no, that's not, no. And you're trying to be nice, and the more you try to be nice, the more you're just clearly being more of a dick. You're like, no, that's not it. And like, you're trying to like just get them to do it without losing your mind. And because of my exercise of patience, which takes more time than just being an asshole, it was backing up the line. And so Chara's outside. You want to tell your part?
Yeah, so I'm there, and like this audition is taking a really long time. Like I think it was over an hour behind at that point, and I was stressing out because I had to go to work in the evening, right? So I'm like looking at the time. I'm like, God, it's like 2 p.m. already. I start work at 4. This is a disaster. And I'm like, do I stay? Do I go? What do I do? And then suddenly the casting dude, this guy, pops his head out of the room, and then he comes out, and he's there in his like cargo shorts and t-shirt and stuff, and he looks pissed. Like he's having the worst day ever. And he comes out and he's like, listen, I want to get out of here as much as you guys, okay? So if you just listen to me, we can get this done, okay? So let me just explain this to you. And then he does the whole explanation, and I'm looking at him and I'm like, wow, that dude's stressed out.
You can use my real name, by the way.
Yeah, so and he's having a really bad day. And then so I'm just sitting there quietly. And then some guy, I don't know why he was asking you this. You're having a little conversation, and then he asks you, oh yeah, what's your name? And you go, Anthony Alba. And then he goes, huh, any relation to Jessica Alba? And then his face was like thunder. He's just like, no, Alba means white in Italian. And I'm like, And so after that, I remembered his name because he gave that guy such an attitude. I was like, wow, this guy's stressed and he's got an attitude.
So anyway, I continue on the auditions, and then she comes in the. Well, you could tell this part because I don't actually remember you auditioning.
He whenever we tell this story, he loves to tell it as if he remembered. But the thing is, he didn't even remember this encounter until I told him about it years later, and even then, he barely remembers. So what happened was, I go in the room. It's like probably an hour and a half since I first arrived, so it's super late, right? And we get in, and he's, setting up the computer and the stuff. And he looks at me and he goes, are you a hapa? Now, for those of you that don't know, a hapa means like half Asian and half white.
Generally speaking.
Generally. It's a Hawaiian term.
Yeah.
And he goes, are you a hapa? And I'm like, yeah. And then he just carries on as if nothing
That's not how you told it the first time. Oh my God, you're terrible at retelling things.
How?
Okay, so this is the Chara's version that she told me when I first started talking to her about this. So she comes in the room, and I'm just like, just a stink fest in my face, just mad. Just like mad as hell at this stupid audition that I'm running. And I look at her, I go, are you a hapa? And she goes, yeah. I go, okay. And then I just keep running the audition.
Yeah, like you just carried on. So I did the audition, whatever, and then left. Didn't really think much about it.
Months go by.
Months.
And I am working at another place down in Santa Monica, and there's a boba shop down the street. I was on my break, so I go to the boba shop to get a boba tea. And what happens is the Chara's there, and I have no idea who she is. I mean, at least, like, this is how I recall it. Like,
oh, you remember it now?
What I remember the encounter, but I just didn't remember it. Like I just threw it out of my mind. Yeah. You meet so many actresses in Los Angeles. I just threw it out of my head. And so what happened was, I walk up and I say, "Do I know you?" And you go, "Yeah, actually." Or what did I say to you? You remember the story better than I do. That part.
Yeah,
I make it up every time.
Yes, but it was basically that. You walked up to me and you're like, "Do I know you?" And I said, "Yeah, you've auditioned me before." And then you said, are you a hapa?
Right? No, I remember that moment. I remember the moment you responded to that because you go, yeah, you've asked me that before.
Yeah.
That right there, and the way in which you said it to me, there was just a tiny bit of venom in your voice when you said it.
I can get a little bit edgy sometimes.
Yeah, it was just a little bit of venom, and that's when I was like, oh, yeah, sorry, I'm just, and are you on Facebook? I was like just trying to exit the conversation because I was embarrassed. And so she goes, yeah, I'm on Facebook, and we exchanged real quick, and I dashed out of there. I'm like, I never want to talk to this bitch again. Like,
well, I was like, cool, I'm friends with Anthony Alba on Facebook.
Yeah, like, I completely blocked her from my mind. I blocked out that experience because it was so embarrassing, because I was hitting on her, and it went south really fast. Because there's nothing worse than being told you said that to me before. Yeah. That is the worst feeling. And
favorite pickup line.
Right. No, it's not. It was just all I was just trying to do was relate. That's what you're supposed to do when you hit on girls, is just somehow find a way to relate. And usually hoppers can identify other hoppers really quickly.
It's like,
Right.
Oh, you're also mixed. Cool. I'm mixed, and now we have something in common.
Think of it like this. If you're Indian traveling to the States, you will probably quickly identify another Indian faster than an American can.
Yeah.
It's a similar thing, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, many months go by, and I'm running an audition at a place that no longer runs auditions called Casting Underground, and it's for Hanes Underwear. And it's for another cool casting director who, I can't remember her name right now, but she had like silver hair. She always had silver hair ever since she was like 28, and I thought it was the coolest thing. She was like Rogue from X-Men. Very nice gal. And it's for Hanes Underwear, and so basically every woman who walks in the room, I gotta ask them to undress. And I look at the call sheet. I mean, it's a little bit more like frightening than you think. It's not as cool as it sounds. To ask this girl, please take off your clothes now, is always uncomfortable for me because it's business and you want to make sure you don't make them uncomfortable, right? I look at the call sheet and I see Achara's face, but I don't properly read her name. I just think it's the girl from the sushi shop back in the day because I thought she was in Japan. This was like years ago that we kept in touch on Facebook and whatnot, and she told me she was moving to Japan to do modeling. And so when Achara comes in the room, I'm like, hey, and she's like, hey, and I'm like, you're back in town, and she goes, in her mind, she goes, no, and out loud she goes, yeah.
Yeah, no, because you said to me, you just got back in town, right? And I'm thinking, well, I did get back in town like 6 months ago because I visited my parents, but sure.
Yeah.
I'm back in town.
Yeah, and so within a couple seconds of saying that, I'm like, okay, well, can you take off your clothes, please? And Achara's like, okay. And so she did this dance in her underwear thing, and it was like
the most mind-blowing dance he's ever seen in his life.
It was pretty confident. I will say that.
Was it?
It was pretty confident.
Oh, cool.
Achara's very confident with auditions. But what stood out to me was the fact that I hadn't seen this girl in God knows how long, like over 5-6 years in my mind. And here I am asking her to get into her underwear and dance around. And that just left an impression on me, like, wow, that's so weird. Only in Los Angeles, a place like Los Angeles, can that sort of thing happen. And I went home to my now ex-girlfriend to tell her about that. Later on, I don't realize this, Achara is working at a place called Gukaku in Sherman Oaks. And me, my girlfriend at the time, and my family go to Gukaku. And Achara's there, and oh my God, it's you again. Like, we would run into each other everywhere. And oftentimes, I would forget the encounter. The only one I actually really remember is at Casting Underground when you danced in your underwear.
Well, I thought that was when you said, like, that was the moment when you finally, like, married my name and my face together. And we're like, oh, that's Achara Kirk.
Right, mostly. But,
really?
But like, I didn't remember Gukaku.
Yeah, so that was another thing. So I worked at Gukaku, and you were there for like some family gathering, and I remembered, and you know, I remembered our interactions. I told you where the bathroom was, and blah, blah, blah.
What's new, right? The bathroom.
Yeah, right. He's like, oh, where's the bathroom? I'm like, it's literally right behind you, Anthony. Yeah. And then at the end of the dinner, you asked me to take a picture with your DSLR. And so I took the picture, and then like much later when we started working together, and you know, I recounted to him like the story of how I remembered all those different encounters that we had. And I was kind of sad that Jaby didn't remember me at all. I was like, wow, I must be so boring. I didn't leave an impression on you at all. But I told him, I was like, yeah, and then I remember that time you came to the restaurant I worked at, and I took a picture of your family. I remember exactly, you were sitting at table 16. It was at like the front back of the restaurant, and it was a round table, and this, that.
We get it.
And so I described it perfectly, and he's like, no, you weren't there. And I was like, 100%. I took the picture and I described it, and then he goes onto his computer and he's like looking, and then he found the picture and he's like, oh shit. Yeah. Oh, you were there. I was like, yeah.
Right. We ran into each other all kinds of places. But I think the reason why I would often not like make sure to like hold on to that memory was because I couldn't date you and I had a girlfriend. And I think it's like, what's the point? Like, what's the point? Like, there's no room for more data. It's like, it's already occupied, and like, I can't, no. And so I just threw it out. That's often probably what happened.
Okay.
Yeah, and so what happened with the channel was, after me and my ex separated, because I broke up with her, I was on a kick of having a lot of people come over all the time to come on my channel and be a guest. It started off with my friend Sarah, who was helping me through that tough time. And then I brought on a Japanese friend I met through Chuck, Yu Asakura, and then Hope James, and the ones with Hope James really took off. And then eventually Achara came over like several months after I had gotten started. And she just loved it. When I thought Achara was bullshitting, because she's like, I really like doing this. This is a lot of fun. Like, because Achara sometimes she sounds like she's not being genuine, even though she is. And she was being dead serious, and because like she would love to come back and do more reaction videos. And then eventually, I guess that's really I don't want to say anything more because then it gets too personal. So that's the story of how we met and how she ended up coming on the channel and being a very frequent guest to the point of ad nauseum. So
now you can't get rid of me.
Yeah. So that's it, you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that story. Thanks for hanging out. Love y'all. I'm Jaby Koay. This is
Achara Kirk.
Peace out.